Welcome to week 2 of Starting Out and Starting Over. I'm Catherine Lake Hogan of Looking for Ancestors. Last week, we focused on you, names, dates, and places that had to do with yourself. Looking at a pedigree chart of your family history, you would be in position number 1. This leads us to our topic for week 2, which is building the framework. The tools that will help us build our family trees are the pedigree chart and family group sheets, or family group records. The 5-generation pedigree chart is what we are going to be using as the framework to build our family trees this year. The first position, number 1, on the pedigree chart is you. You are generation 1. There are 30 other positions on the pedigree chart, making a grand total of 31 people through 5 generations. Your parents are number 2 and number 3 on the pedigree chart, and they are generation 2. You'll notice all the odd numbered positions on the pedigree chart, with the exception of position number 1, are for your male ancestors. All the even numbered positions on the pedigree chart are for your female ancestors. Starting with your paternal line, and that's your dad's line, your father's line, fill in your paternal grandparents. Next, fill in your maternal grandparents. Everyone has 4 biological grandparents, 2 on each side of the family. They make up generation 3. You may not know who they are, you may not have all the names or the information, and that's okay. Moving on to generation 4, add in the names of your paternal great-grandparents. Then your maternal great-grandparents. As we move chronologically backwards, have you noticed the number of people for each generation doubles? Everyone has 8 great-grandparents, 4 paternal great-grandparents, and 4 maternal great-grandparents. When you get to this generation, you may find you don't have that much information. Generation 5 is for your great-great-grandparents or your second great-grandparents. 16 ancestors make up this generation. Again, 8 on your paternal side and 8 on your maternal side. And it's likely many of you are going to have spotty information for this generation. Going back to the beginning of my own family history research, this is what I started with. And you'll notice that I don't have complete information for the whole entire chart. Now your starting point might be different, and that's okay. This week, I want you to spend some time filling in as much as you can on the pedigree chart. If you don't have all the names of all 30 ancestors, that's fine, because that's the point of starting out and starting over. We're going to be working on that. What I don't want you to do is copy information from an old GEDCOM file or from an old family history software program or from an online family tree. If you're not sure, then leave it blank. And this is why some of us are starting over, to avoid as much as possible incorrect names and information that has not been well researched. Now is a good time to address a few key elements in our family history research: names and dates. How do you record names and dates accurately with no confusion? Here's an example of what I'm talking about. What is this person's name? Are you assuming the given names are John and William, and the surname is Henry? How do you know for certain? Sometimes surnames are listed before given names. The use of a comma is helpful, but what if the comma is put in the wrong place? Capitalizing surnames makes it easy to know the correct surname, especially in a situation where the names can be used for both given names and surnames. Get in the habit of capitalizing your family surnames and you'll avoid confusion. What about maiden names and married names of female ancestors? When you initially add a female ancestor to your family tree, always use her maiden name. When you get to the point of writing up your family history and your female ancestor has married, then you'll want to include her married name. Looking at this example, how do you know if this is the same person or two different people? You're not sure, are you? By including the maiden name in parentheses, confusion can be avoided, as it plainly becomes obvious that Elizabeth Mary Smith was married and her married name was Taylor. What about dates? The formatting of dates in your family history also needs to be consistent and clear so that there is no added confusion. If an event date is entered as 3/4/12, how do you know which month the event took place, which day, or for this matter, which year or century? In the United States, it's common practice to write dates as month, day, year. So an American researcher might assume the correct date to be April 3rd, possibly 1812. However, in Canada, it's common practice to write dates as day, month, year. So a Canadian researcher might think the correct date was 4th of March, 1912. Which date is correct? You can see how confusing things become when using only a numerical format. Is the correct date April 3rd, 1812 or 4th of March, 1912? Maybe the correct date is actually in 2012. You can't really be sure, can you? This is why writing dates in the format of day, month, and year with all 4 digits is important. You can choose whether or not you want to use the full spelling of the month or an abbreviation using the first 3 letters. Whichever you decide, be consistent. Don't switch back and forth using full spelling for some events and abbreviations for others. Consistency is the key. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned using a family group record as another tool in researching our family histories. How does the family group record work with building our family tree? Think of it this way. If the pedigree chart is the framework, then the family group record is the building block. We'll be using family group records in detail next week during week 3. In the meantime, keep working on your 5-generation pedigree chart using the correct name and date formats. If you need a blank pedigree chart, starting out and starting over mailing list subscribers can check their inboxes for the week 2 email, which has a link for downloading a blank pedigree chart. Or you can check if your own family history software program has a blank pedigree chart you can use. Until next week, have fun looking for ancestors.